Welcome, third graders, to Motivation Station. I'm Miss Kay Johnson, and today's math lesson is going to be about measuring lengths. Let's start off with a joke of the day. Why is 6 afraid of 7? Because 7 ain't 9. So back to today's lesson. We're going to be measuring lengths. We're going to generate measurement data by measuring lengths using rulers marked with halves and fourths of an inch. Let's first do some keys to measuring. Lay your ruler down flat. Then you're going to place the left edge of the object at the 0 point. You'll find where the opposite end of the object lands. Note that location on the ruler, and then write the measurement down as a whole number or as a fraction. What you see now are some tools that we use to measure length. We have an assorted variety of rulers that you used in first and second grade that measure to the nearest inch. We have other rulers that measure to the 16th of an inch, rulers that you would use at school that measure to the quarter inch, a yardstick or a meter stick, and then we also have tape measures that you probably have at home that your parents use to measure the lengths of things around the house. So for today, we're going to use a special ruler so I can show you how to measure. This is a master ruler, and we're going to first start off, and you may have seen this at school. We're going to first start off, it only has inch measurements. And we're going to review how to measure because you did learn how to measure in first and second grade. The first step was to line up the 0 with the left end of the mark. And we're measuring this line, and it goes all the way to here, and it's lined up with the 7, or you could count them as 7 whole numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we would write down that that line is 7 inches. This next line, it looks shorter. I'm going to line up the left side on the 0. And it lands on this line, which is from 0 to 1, 2, 3, 4 inches. Now this line, if I measure, I line up right on the 0, and it goes to the nearest inch at this line, which it lines up with 6, or I could count it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now we're going to measure to the nearest half inch. We're going to use the same master ruler, and we're just going to flip over the half inch marks. If I line this line up, the left side with the 0, my first step is to count my whole numbers again that this line passes. So it passes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 whole numbers. It doesn't quite get to the 7, so I know that the line is 6 whole numbers. And then my halves, we do the denominator first. So if I count my denominator, this whole is split up into 2 pieces, and the line goes to one of those 2 pieces. So this line is 6 whole inches and 1/2 inch. There's one more way to do that. If we know it's in halves, we can make halves our denominator, and we can count how many total jumps it makes for the numerator. So we could count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So this line is 6 1/2 inches, or 13 halves. Let's take a look at the next one. If I line it up, this one is, I'm going to do my whole numbers first, 1, 2, 3 wholes. Is there a fractional part left? No, there's not. So it's 3 whole inches, but I could write that as a fraction if I needed to write it as halves. 2 is my denominator because each one is split into 2 equal parts, and then I count all of them for my numerator. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this one is 3 inches or 6 halves. On the next line, we're going to start at the left again, and I line my endpoint up with my 0. I'm going to count my whole numbers. If I start at 0 and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 whole numbers. And how many halves do I have? I have 1 half after the 7 whole numbers. Or if I want to write that in a fraction greater than 1, I know my denominator is 2 and my numerator is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 halves. If I start the 0 on the left side of the line and I count my whole numbers, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 whole numbers. And this line goes past 5 to the 1/2 mark. So it's 5 1/2 inches. And my fraction greater than 1, I'm talking about halves. So I'm going to write my denominator 2. And how many halves do I have? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and I can't go to 12 because the line's not there, so I have 11 halves. We're going to measure to the nearest 1/4 inch now. That means there are 4 equal parts to the inch. If I use the same master ruler and flip the next slide over, you can see that between the 0 and the 1, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 equal parts. That's how we're going to measure to the 1/4 inch. We still line the left side up with the 0, and we count our whole numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 whole numbers. Now how many 1/4 inches are there in this line? From the 6, I count 1, 2, 3 1/4 inches. So 3 out of 4 equal parts were used. Now to find that fraction greater than 1, my denominator is still 4, and now I count all the fourths to get my numerator. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. So 6 3/4 inches is the same as 27 fourths. Let's try it one more time. I line up my 0 with the left, count my whole numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 whole inches. And how many 1/4 inches after that? I see 1, 2 1/4 inches. Or our fraction greater than 1, we're going to have fourths. And we count for our numerator, we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So 5 2/4 inches is the same as 22 fourths. Let's take a look at this line again. It also falls, the same line falls on a 1/2 inch mark. So there's another way to write that. It is still 5 whole inches. So this number, we're going to still have 5 whole inches, but instead of 2/4, we can write it in halves, and it is 1/2. So it could be 5 2/4 or 5 1/2 inches. Let's measure one more line to the nearest 1/4 inch. I start at the end, and I notice this one goes all the way to here. I can see that it passes the whole number 9. So I know that it is 9 whole inches, or you could count it if you wanted. And then how many fourths does it go? I see the fourth split up between the 9 and the 10, and it goes 1 out of those 4. So I write 1/4. So it's 9 and 1/4 inches. And now if I needed to write a fraction greater than 1, if I needed to change that, I'm going to skip count by 4s. You could count 1 by 1, or if you know your 4s, you can skip count by 4s. So this one is 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36, plus 1 more is 37. So this line is 9 and 1/4 inches, or 37/4. Well, I had a great time using math tools to measure today. If you can find a ruler or even a tape measure around your house, you could practice measuring. Well, that's all the time we have for today. I'll see you next time on Motivation Station.